100 grams.
My name is Andrew, but professionally I go by DJ Bam.
All right, so where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans, uptown New Orleans.
Uptown New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm really from everywhere. I'm from downtown, uptown, and the east. I spent a lot of my childhood in different parts of the city because I bounced around from mom to dad to grandma. Mostly my grandma raised me, so yeah.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your childhood, about the moving parts, moving around, and how that molded you into being the person you are today.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about. Wow, nobody ever asked me that question before. Coming up as a child, it just taught me a lot. I had a lot of experiences that I was self-taught. My mom and my dad wasn't in my life because they was trying to get their stuff together, and my grandma was raising me, and she old, so she couldn't really do much for me. So I was just learning everything on the street, pretty much.
Okay.
So it taught me a lot about independence.
So being independent at a younger age, not really even knowing what that was.
No.
Kind of just
No, just kind of like just going with the flow, you know? Yeah.
going with the flow and surviving through it.
Yeah.
All right, so you say you didn't grow up with both parents, but you also did bounce around from here to there. Besides the independence factor of it, how do you feel like that, made you look at life now as well? Because I know at the time you wasn't really looking at it. It was just the way that you were living.
Right.
So now, what you think is instilled in you from that type of experience?
Just making smart decisions. I feel like throughout the course of my childhood and my young adult life, I made a lot of stupid decisions. Decisions I look back and I just be like, why did I do that? And I feel like now, as an adult, I'm more mature. I know how to navigate this world, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. All right. So, what high school did you attend?
I went to Cimarron Memorial High School in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, from 8th grade to high school, I spent that. Yeah.
So you grew up down here. What made you move to Vegas?
My grandma, my uncle, he's a chef. So God rest his soul. He made the transition to move to Las Vegas, and then like the rest of my family, they were just like, you know what, this is not a bad idea. Let's just all go out, cause ain't shit in New Orleans.
Right.
So which is really it's a lot. It's just a lot of people. That's a whole nother stuff. But to them, they felt like at the time it was the best decision for them to move. So I stayed with my grandma. My grandma was my baby. So wherever she went, I went.
Right.
So.
Okay. So how was that experience out there? Living out there in high school experience?
It was a culture shock. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't realize I never seen so many Mexicans before in my life. I never knew what Crips and Bloods was until I got out there, and it was just like, oh, I can't be friends with nobody unless I join a gang.
Right.
It was weird, but that's life.
All right. So after that transition, what did you do following high school? And did you stay there? Did you want to stay there until college, or did you just guys move back?
When I graduated high school in Las Vegas, I moved down here, back home to New Orleans, and I went to school at SUNO. So went to SUNO for a couple of semesters. When I came back, I started DJing, and in the process of me DJing, my dad had me working for him on his party bus and just doing like little wedding gigs and little sweet 16s or whatever. And I was going to school for business, entrepreneurship at SUNO. Then, should I go through the whole?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I wasn't sure. So that whole little spiel, man, that was a whole, wow. I graduated school, went to SUNO, started DJing, and then I started picking up DJing. At first I didn't like it, because I've always been musically talented. I could play any instrument, but
right.
DJing, was something I felt like I just, I'm just spending all this time just sitting behind this DJ booth, not having fun. And then like eventually, like over time, I started to see like, oh, I could see how I could utilize my music knowledge or whatever and just translate it into DJing. And then that's what worked for me. So then from that, it became the business. I had to get the business down because I found something I developed a passion for.
Right.
But I didn't have the business aspect. Now keep in mind, I'm still young, I'm still making mistakes, I'm still doing a whole bunch of dumb retarded. I don't know if I should cuss or not, but I could cuss. I was doing a whole bunch of retarded shit, and over the years, as a young adult, like, you don't have it all figured out. You don't know, you're not consciously thinking about all the decisions that you make could affect you 10 years from now. Right. 20, 15, whatever, so that's, in my mind, I'm just like, I'm young,
right?
Let's do it, whatever. Like, my mind was not on like building a family,
right?
Taking care of my community, like looking out for people, stuff like that.
Right.
Like, my mind was just on play, females, right, and just getting on. That was it.
Okay. I think a lot of people could, really attest to that.
Yeah.
Especially just once you get that hit of something, and you want to keep getting over and over. So yeah, that's very understanding.
I want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned that you could play pretty much any instrument, and music has been a part of your life for a long time. Can you just talk about like the origins of like you in music and like how you got into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my great grandfather, he was one of the pioneers of jazz music. The reason why you hear clarinets in like a lot of old jazz music, like swing jazz music, like if you go in the French quarters, you hear a clarinet, it's because of my grandpa, my great grandfather, Alfonso Picu. So he was one of those pioneers, and my grandma, who I stayed with, she had a church, and like my dad played the drums, my auntie sang, like everybody was just in the choir, just in music. So of course me, like how I got the name Bam was I looked at my dad playing the drums, so I used to take a lot of pots and beat on them and stuff like that, so they called me Bam. So that's how I got the name Bam. And yeah, like I always been into music. I play the piano, I play the drums, I play the guitar, I play the saxophone, whatever. Like I always been like that. Even in high school, I was a band head. I just kept on playing instruments.
So you basically, you could say music is like in your DNA.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely in my DNA. It's 100%.
All right. So, during that, this may be a part of it as well, just your history, but also now, what keeps you inspired with what you're doing and what you continue to do?
I just feel like now, what keeps me inspired and passionate is I always like to challenge myself. I always been that type of person. I always like to do better than what I did before, and not all the time I've been successful at it, but I know just like wanting to do better, just wanting to be better than the last version of myself. Just wow. And I feel like you say it's just a part of my DNA. I just love music, you know what I'm saying? So, and I love making people feel good. I think that's the thing that I really, that I like to chase, is making people feel good. So every time I'm DJing, like at Treehouse or wherever I'm DJing at, and I play one song and everybody like, oh yeah, this my shit. And then I go to another song, they like, ooh, like right. It's just like, I chase it like the whole entire night. If you ever heard me DJ from beginning to end, I'm keeping a crowd in there, and every moment is gonna be like that the whole entire time you're there. So I try to always do that. I don't know how I could do better than that.
Right.
But yeah, that's just.
I mean, doing better than that, and you can answer this as a question. You don't feel like getting that good, but being consistent is doing better than.
Oh yeah, definitely consistency.
Yeah.
I've recently learned that. So it's like, again, I'm teaching myself every fucking thing I know. Right. So it's like, now I have mentors, I have business partners, people who are old heads that's like, yo, look, This how you should go. This how you should navigate this. This how you should do this. Don't think like that. Don't move like that. You know, things like that. So I got the right people around me. I feel like as a young, like, just to go back on my young adult years, I never had it like that. I ain't gonna say I had the wrong people around me, but I just didn't have the right people around me. Let's just put it like that.
Right. And maybe you didn't know who the right people were to look for as well.
Exactly.
At that time.
Exactly.
You've been around doing DJing for a while, but what do you feel like makes New Orleans New Orleans?
Black people. 100%. I feel like we are the culture. We made the culture. We created the culture. And it's just this is ours. Like, I feel like I seen a sign on a Joy Theater billboard that like everything you know about New Orleans is about black people, and that's 100% true. Like down to the French Quarters, like the history of the city, like the culture second lines, you know, like we are the people that's keeping the culture relevant.
Right.
You know, so. And we make it what it is.
It's the facts. That's just what it is. So what is an experience you had that could only happen in New Orleans?
Well, I could get crawfish, I could get a snowball, I could go on the lake, I could go on the fly. Second lines. It's nothing like the food here. I feel like the people here, you can't get I feel like, and I always say this, New Orleans people are one of a kind. Like, you not gonna find us. First of all, we all talented. We all could cook, we all could dance, we all could sing, we all could make music. Like, we're good at hospitality. Like, we're professionals. Like, I feel like majority of New Orleans civilians, I don't know if I ain't gonna say locals, I'm gonna just say people from New Orleans. People from New Orleans, I feel like we're just so talented in so many aspects, you know. I just feel like we're just one of a kind. I can't find that nowhere else in any city. I've lived in LA, I lived in Vegas, and there's no culture in Vegas. LA is just, but New Orleans is like, this is home. Like, even if you're not from here, you move here, it's like, damn, there's something about this city. It's just like, you can't shake it.
Have you worked in different places as well?
100%. I worked in Vegas, I worked in LA. Nothing's like New Orleans. I feel like New Orleans is the hardest crowd to DJ a service for. Because everybody else is just so easy, it's so commercial. New Orleans is like, we seen all the celebrities, we didn't seen all the festivals. Right. So what you got?
Right.
You gotta bring it to the table. Like, that's why I'm not gonna go into that, but I feel like if you're serious about something, you have to be really, really serious about it. Because if you're not, the city ain't gonna support you. And I feel like a lot of people feel like the city don't support them, and it's not because it's because, well, I ain't gonna say that it's not because of them. I feel like it's not because they're not taking what they're doing serious.
It's a higher bar to
definitely.
And I feel like that's why it's really, if you from New Orleans and you feel like you ain't really getting nowhere, and you feel like you putting in the work, move to Houston or move to Atlanta, move somewhere else, and you gonna get a lot more quicker,
right,
like traction,
right.
And I never understood why.
But look, check this out. This is because I was just thinking about this the other night. I was like, why do people feel like they have to move other places to get on? I feel like you could literally be here. Like, people blow up off of social media every day. Look at Super. Look at all these other people that's just taking off from just social media. Like, I feel like the amount of energy that it'll take for you to move all the way to another city, develop a whole new life routine, get a new job, get to know a whole bunch of other people, you can do that here.
Right.
You can take that energy and waste it on social media and build up your clientele off of that.
Right. And I just think it's fear.
Yeah, that too.
I mean,
that too.
You know, people,
because everybody know everybody. So like, people scared to try something different around people that they don't know.
Right.
I mean, that they do know, because they afraid how people gonna look at them. They gonna be like, I ain't.
Right.
Because it happens. Like, people see it all the time. Like, I'm not supporting you. I'm not doing that. No. What you got going on over here?
Right.
The out of towner that just came in town. Right. You know.
Nah, it's definitely that, man.
But consistency will help you. People would like to see you fail. People like to see you try.
Consistency is
and
key.
Consistency. You know.
It's key.
That's the key right there.
So what are you up to now? What's going on with what you got going on?
So I'm opening a new bar right now. DJing, I'm still passionate about DJing, so I'm gonna continue doing that, like regardless. And just keep building, just getting into real estate, things like that.
Dope. That's good to hear.
Yeah, man.
So if you could go back in time and if you could go back in time, what message would you give your younger self?
Ooh. One particular message?
Whatever message.
You give them a few. Whatever you can think of now. What message would you give your younger self with the knowledge that you have now?
I can't say that I would love to give myself a message, but I like the way that I went through my process of being where I am today. You know, like I feel like what made me what I am today is because of my whole past, like the way I grew up, the way I came up, the people I was around. I felt like I learned from different experiences, and I wouldn't want to learn those experiences now. Mm-hmm. I would rather me learn those experiences
the way that
back when they happen, for me to be like, I would never do that again. I would try this. I'm gonna do this, and because right now everything's beautiful. So I appreciate it, you know.
So what would you tell a youth that may need some help or something like that? Like, what would you tell them with what you learned as a person and going through the things that you've been through, even being at your entrepreneurial peak right now?
Right. It's kind of hard to talk to these kids right now because they're not listening. All they want to do is what they want to do, and that's fine because I was that same way, so I can't really knock it. But at the same time, if it's somebody that's giving me an ear, I would definitely tell them to just focus on themselves, build, make some goals, set some goals, develop a plan. A lot of people don't have a plan. Like, people just out here just doing shit and just not.
Facts.
They don't have a plan. Like, I feel like if you know where you're going,
a long-term plan too.
Long-term plan, short-term and really long-term, just long-term.
Start with 10 years.
Yeah, like I met a chick. She was like, I want to buy a house at 25, and she bought a house at 25. That was her goal, and I respect that. I admire that. So if other kids thought like her, yeah, absolutely, and work with everybody. Don't just be like, work with everybody. Give everybody a shot. Even if you don't want to sometimes. You know, you never know what might happen out of.
Cool. So you got any more questions? All right, well, that's all we have. Just let everybody know where to find you at and how they could get in touch with you.
Okay, my social media is Sounds by DJ Bam. And that's how you can get in touch with me.
Bet.
Yep. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything.
Cool.
Sounds by DJ Bam.
Only in New Orleans.